UFC Fight Night Tampa, Colby versus Buckley. Let's start right away. I have $1,000 on this card. Watch this video and see where I've put that $1,000. At different points in this card, you'll see Piera versus Josefine Knutsson. Now, I'm going to go against my rule that I have for women's MMA and pick against the more lesbian looking of the two fighters. Because Piera is more lesbian looking, but I am going with Josefine Knutsson. I do think the fact that she is a experienced kickboxer is going to give her the edge here. I think her... honestly, when she's been fighting recently, she has been using some of her grappling more often. Considering this is the women's division, they're all dumb as hell. None of them are actually high-level elite wrestlers. Or there is one later on, but for the most part, they're all mostly just strikers. Terrible at it while we're talking about it. Most of the takedown abilities, like Piera Rodriguez's, I'm not trusting her to take down Josefine Knutsson. And the neutralizer on the ground, I think Knutsson has shown enough decent grappling, at least offensively, to be like... you know, maybe she's worked on it and then she can stuff some of the takedowns. Striking-wise, she has the massive advantage over Piera Rodriguez. Just based on those factors, you've kind of got to go with Josefine Knutsson, which I have gone for. Don't mind that teardrop at the corner there. That was for a different video, which I forgot to edit out. Forget about it. Davey Grant versus Ramon Taveras. Davey Grant is a weird one, isn't he? The guy... feels like he should be losing. Like Davey Grant versus Louis Smolka was a close fight, which I thought shouldn't have been. I thought Davey Grant should have absolutely smoked this dude. But then on the other hand, with Ramon Taveras, who is a bit more new to the division, isn't he? Yeah, he is. He's a little bit more new to the division, while Davey Grant has been around. Davey Grant hasn't looked the best against a lot of fighters. I mean, listen, right? I know later on, he's the reason why I'd go against Adrian Yanez later on. Spoiler alert. Hasn't looked the best against Louis Smolka. Hasn't looked the best against Alvarez, who was basically on the cusp of retiring, I believe. That's the level we're looking at right now from these from Davey Grant. I understand Ramon Taveras is a bit more new to the fight game. I know he's a bit more... just from what I've seen, I think he's a good striker. He's a good brawler on the feet. And someone like Davey Grant who goes to close fights, I think if you are talented enough, like I think the UFC does think Ramon Taveras probably has some sort of potential, I think we're going to be looking at a win for Ramon Taveras, and that's why he is the pick for this fight. Miranda Maverick versus Jamey-Lyn Horth. Jamey-Lyn Horth, I have predicted one of her fights before, and honestly, I think she is extremely lesbian. I don't know why that's my go-to, but of the two, she is the more LES of the two. Miranda Maverick, on the other hand, less but still somewhat. I'm looking in that department of sexuality, but Miranda Maverick has a significantly better wrestling, in my opinion. I'm looking at Jamey-Lyn Horth and I'm thinking to myself, she is a women's fighter that will fight like a woman. In all honesty, Miranda Maverick actually has some decent wrestling and takedown ability, as well as having some decent striking on the feet. So it's not like she's going to get completely outstruck on the feet if she can't take her down. I think her striking is good enough to set up her wrestling and be able to control Jamey-Lyn Horth, who I swear to God is just another female fighter. No real attributes. She just looks lesbian. So she might be sneaky strong, but in all honesty, this should be Miranda Maverick's fight to win. And I've picked money on her and Manel Cape to win later on, so watch out for that prediction. Next up, we have Miles John versus Felipe Lima. Now, Felipe Lima, again, a decent striker on the feet. He is also new to the game of the UFC, while Miles John's on the other hand. Now, let's look at fucking Miles John's. Miles John is coming... no, he has a loss to Cody Garbrandt. His striking is okay and decent. Is he coming off a... was that Miles John? Let me just look it up real quick. Mid-video. Miles... I believe he was getting his head popped off by Cody Garbrandt. If that is not the Miles John I'm thinking of, then don't even pay attention to this prediction. But I do believe he was not the fighter. Wow, that's changed everything for me. I could restart this entire video 4 minutes and 18 seconds in. Or I could just adapt. And now I'm looking at it and I'm kind of remembering this is someone else. He was scheduled to fight Cody Garbrandt. My bad. That fight didn't happen. Douglas Silva de Andrade, who I do kind of rate highly as a decent fighter. Ah. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to change my pick mid-predictions video and I'm going to say Miles Johns win this. And I might be just going completely off MMA math here. But honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, Miles Johns against Felipe Lima is a little bit more new to this game. I'm taking Miles Johns. Don't pay attention to this shit, okay? I thought it was someone else. I did all that research. I watched a couple of his fights. Only to realize it's not actually him. I'm an idiot. Anyway, Felipe Lima. Fuck off. Miles Johnson is going to be the pick. It's the official pick. Woodson versus Fernando Padilla. I have so much credibility and respect in this prediction game. Anyway, Woodson, tall, lanky dude. Fernando Padilla, in just like feature-wise, just looks even more lanky than Woodson, but he actually isn't. Padilla does have some decent striking, though. I will give him that. He does have decent striking, but does he have the matrix entering striking of Woodson, who has recently looked really, really good in his fights? Overall, as a dude, though, Woodson can get chinned, right? He can get chinned. He can lose fights. And that's the worry. Like, while the guy has good striking, his defense isn't always there. He always has the shoulder tuck and going backwards. But honestly, he can be hit. Doing just that is not going to save you from your temple just getting boom, caught with a right hook. I think it is. I've put money on Woodson, don't get me wrong, but I do think the technical striking of Woodson should be able to get him the win. I think he's the better striker of the two. They both have range. I don't think that's going to play too much of a factor here for Woodson. I have put money on Woodson, but I'm not the most confident in this pick, if I must say so myself. Next up, Drakkar old-aged Klose versus Joel Alvarez. I remember Drakkar Klose for getting KO'd by Beneil Dariush. Joel Alvarez, on the other hand, honestly, if you're looking at a guy that is has a contender for being an unranked GOAT of the division, it's got to be Joel Alvarez. Like, if you go for the pound-for-pound rankings of all the unranked fighters, Joel Alvarez is pretty high up there. I mean, his only loss I went to Demir and Arman Sarukian, and those are the only two losses he has since coming to the UFC. Other than that, he's beating the Drakkar Kloses of the world, night in, night out. He has got dangers on the feet, dangerous striking. I think he can take the fight down if he needs to. And he also has a Goku tattoo, which I never noticed until just now, which is quite cool. And I think he's a Chad dude for that. Well, on the other hand, this dickhead over here, Drakkar Klose, I have nothing against him, but fuck Drakkar Klose, has the tattoo of a state on his chest. Idiotic. Anyway, Drakkar Klose aged is a bit of a decision guy nowadays. Like, he can strike and bang with you on the feet, but for the most part, he is not really catching you. I say this now. Watch him KO Joel Alvarez, but I think Joel Alvarez should be easily able to win this fight. I haven't put any money on this, but I would if I was to parlay it with something. I think Joel Alvarez will comfortably win this fight, and I think it will be by knockout of Drakkar Klose. Ottman Azaitar versus Michael Johnson. This is a tough one. And Michael Johnson has a tattoo of a Catholic or a Celtic cross on his chest instead of just wearing one. A massive dickhead move, and just for that I'm picking Ottman Azaitar. No, it's not. I am picking Ottman Azaitar, but that's because Michael Johnson is old. He's old. I've seen him get chinned. Ottman Azaitar's got power in his hand. Don't let the last two fights fool you. There was a period where Ottman Azaitar was seen as like a prospect, up-and-coming, surging contender. He has a lot of finishes in the first round throughout his career. He has a lot of finishes in his career in general. Michael Johnson's a guy who he can be technical on the feet, but he can also get into wild brawls as the fight goes on. I'm not sure if I can trust Ottman Azaitar, the Potato Man. If you know, you know. The Potato Man's abilities to not gas out later on just because he gets finished or finishes other people in the first round. I'm going to bet on the younger fighter. I'm going to bet against the older dude who has gotten chinned a few times. Not to say Ottman Azaitar hasn't in his last two fights, but now I think that he's coming back. A bit more conditioned. I'm betting on him being a bit more conditioned, catching Michael Johnson and finishing him. These talking long-form videos, they really get your mouth dry. But anyway, I have money on it, $125. He's the underdog. I think you can't bet on Michael Johnson knowing the type of fighter he is as a favorite. You have to bet on him as an underdog. And in this case, I like the other underdog, Ottman Azaitar, to win. Navajo Stirling versus Tuco Tokkos. Tuco Tokkos looks like shit. He is shit at fighting. I think Stirling is kind of like known by Adesanya as being like a prospect. So just based on that, I'm going to pick him. I haven't done any tape study on him. But you know, Tuco Tokkos is absolutely dog shit. If Navajo Stirling is at all good at fighting, he's beating Tuco's toucan ass back to the Stone Age. I don't know. But just look at the physique of him. Just disgusting. Ugh. I'm kidding, but also, he is in bad shape. I'm in better shape than him. Trust me, guys. Underneath this jacket, chiseled. Anyway, Navajo Stirling is the pick here. Daniel Marcos versus Adrian Yanez. Now, Adrian Yanez has been somewhat exposed, but I can see him winning this fight. But Davey, Grant, and him had a close fight. So did Marcos, but Yanez has been chinned, and I like the leg kicks of Daniel Marcos. I can see him leg kicking Adrian Yanez into the next dimension, just like Jonathan Martinez did. Adrian Yanez has been chinned by Rob Font, who does have good hands, and don't get me wrong, Rob Font would also school Daniel Marcos in my opinion. But in terms of striking, I think they're both kind of even. They kind of look similar even, except Marcos has his hair dyed. But the leg kicks, I think, are going to be the factor in this fight. I am envisioning the Daniel Marcos leg kicks adding up, piling up on Adrian Yanez, eventually crumbling him. And I think Marcos wins a close. Honestly, it'll still be a close fight. I think it'll be a split decision win for Daniel Marcos over Adrian Yanez. No money on this one, but that's the pick. I'm getting through these quick in a nice, good, steady fashion. Let's keep going. Dustin Jacoby versus Vitor Petrino. I don't see why Vitor Petrino is such a massive favorite in this fight. I don't see it. The guy literally threw his head into the guillotine of Anthony Smith and just got submitted. Dustin Jacoby, bad luck to my guy. He's been getting KO'd a fair bit here, but I like his striking. I like his kickboxing. I like his striking more than I like Vitor Petrino's. A lot of people are saying that Vitor Petrino can maybe KO him. I'm liking the striking of Dustin Jacoby more than Vitor Petrino. I think that Dominic Reyes beats Vitor Petrino, in my opinion. I guess maybe the wrestling of Petrino plays a factor here, but listen guys, Dustin Jacoby is still the guy that got robbed against Khalil Roundtree. One of the most brutal robberies of all time, in my opinion. He can hang with high-level strikers. I think he can hang with Vitor Petrino. His chin is questionable. Again, with these fighters, the chin will always be questionable, but I am going to go with Dustin Jacoby in this fight. I think Vitor Petrino is highly overrated. He was an undefeated prospect, so they made him a massive favorite against Anthony Smith, and he got exposed badly after a few leg kicks. I believe Dustin Jacoby is someone that trains with Anthony Smith, so I'm expecting him to come in prepared. And I remember Anthony Smith saying, I train with guys that could easily beat Petrino. Was he referring to Dustin Jacoby? Does Anthony Smith know something that we don't know? Maybe. The pick is going to be Dustin Jacoby here. $125 on a $3.10 underdog is crazy value. You'd be stupid not to take it. Manel Kape versus Bruno Silva. Wasn't Bruno... Am I wrong in saying that Bruno Silva was getting pieced up by Cody Durden? Cody Durden we just recently seen get pieced up on the feet. Being a low IQ individual, not taking the fight to the ground. But have we not seen that? I'm expecting Manel Kape to just piece him up on the feet. Completely blitz him. Light him up. I know Manel Kape has kind of been exposed. Like he's come into the division. Has been losing to the top 5 of the division. But I like Manel Kape. I think he's got this one. Nothing more to it, I suppose. Like, honestly, what else is to break down? Manel Kape, I understand his last fight against old mate, what's his name? Mukayev, who got taken down and controlled in a fight that Manel Kape didn't show up for. If Bruno Silva mixing the takedowns enough, I do think he can neutralize Manel Kape. But I think Manel Kape in this fight is just more knowing that the wrestling threat is less. Will let his hands go, blitz him up, fire. I want to just light him up all the way up and down. The pick's gonna be Manel Kape. It's part of my 2-leg parlay with Miranda Maverick. I think he'll comfortably win this fight, but knowing Manel Kape, watch him lose. Because honestly, in some ways, he has under-delivered in the UFC. Could this be another one of those scenarios? Maybe. I don't know. Wow, we're up to the co-main event. Okay, Cub Swanson. I have blitzed through this video, and you know why I've done this? My stomach is growling, and I was like, let's make a video before doing this. I haven't eaten in hours. I'm dehydrated as a motherfucker after talking. So I'm just giving you some quick picks. This is some quick fire, you know, quick picks and that. Cub Swanson versus Billy Quarantillo. Now, Cub Swanson is a 49-year-old man. He's not 49, but he looks it. It feels like he should be. He has SoCal tatted on his chest. How out of date are you, man? You have some palm trees on your belly? Why? What does that even represent? Billy Quarantillo, a younger guy. I know Billy Quarantillo has been chinned. I know he's been exposing us to higher levels of the division. But Edson Barbosa would do that to anybody. Billy Quarantillo has been Alexander Hernandez, who's moving down weight class. I know that doesn't always work out, but Hernandez is a good fighter. Cub Swanson, on the other hand, has aged. And is winning. Don't get me wrong. He's still winning. Against, what's his name? The black dude. You know the dude. Dawadu? Yeah. But is he going to beat Quarantillo? I'm going to bet against it. I did put money on Billy Quarantillo. I think the age is going to be a factor. Cub Swanson is a smaller guy. Quarantillo, for what it's worth, will scrap. He will fight for your money. He will go out there and try to knock out Cub Swanson in the first round. I'm expecting it to be very close. I think Cub Swanson will perform well in the first round. He usually does. But Bill Contillo, in the long run, I think he'll get him. I think he'll finish him in the third round, actually. I think he'll scrap it out. I think he'll eventually finish Cub Swanson. I think Cub Swanson needs to retire after this. I understand he's making good money. And that's probably why I got the co-main event spot. The UFC's like, oh my god, he's upgraded so many contracts. We're paying him all this money. We may as well get a co-main event out of him. The guy might be from that part of the world, part of the States, because he's got palm trees on his stomach. But, you know, retire after this one. Bring Contillo's the pick, $125. The payback is $200. Now, Colby Covington was in Joaquin Buckley. I made a video on this, so I'll make this quick. I saw the Colby Covington interview with the MMA guru, and it's given me more confidence. Colby Covington is so sure that he's going to win this fight that I'm actually surprised if he loses. And I know that he does this every single time. He's like, oh, I'm going to beat you. But this time he's taking the fight on short notice. Colby doesn't do that. He doesn't put himself in these kind of dangerous risks. He probably wants to get one in before the end of the year, which is the trend Colby Covington's been on for like 6 years at this stage. One fight in 2019, well, 2 fights in 2019, I think. Robbie Lawler and Dos Anjos, and then in 2020, 1 fight Woodley. 2021, 1 fight Usman. 2022, 1 fight Masvidal. 2023, no, sorry, 2019 was 1 fight against Usman, 1 fight against Robbie Lawler. The next year, 2020, Woodley. 2021, Usman. 2022, Masvidal. Holy shit, that was 2022. It's almost 3 years ago. That's insane. 23, the relentless passage of time continues. 2023 was Edwards at the end of the year. Now 2024, 1 fight against Buckley. Expect him to fight once next year in the middle of the year. That's just what he does. That's what Colby Covington is. But the fact that he's taking a short notice fight, he knows he can beat him. And I'm not saying just because you think you can beat someone, you're going to beat him. But I think he knows that he can catch Buckley with his wrestling. He knows Buckley's utilizing way more wrestling nowadays to win fights. I think Colby Covington can nullify that. Buckley can obviously strike on the feet. No one's taking that away from him. But in the Wonder Boy fight, the power came due to the threat of the takedowns. He eventually caught Wonder Boy off guard. KO'd him. I'm really hungry now. I think Colby Covington gets this one done. And I was so confident. I put money on him before the MMA Guru interview. But after the fact, I had to drop another $125. I've got $250 on Colby Covington to win. And I know what you're thinking. Oh my god, I'm only counting $875. That's not actually 1,000. Shut the fuck up. I clickbaited you, alright? 100,000 looks better on the thumbnail. Anyway, those are my picks. Like, share, and subscribe. I had to make this one quick today. Not as in-depth. I'm really fucking hungry right now. And honestly, I could just make this video longer, but I'm just thinking, I'm giving my picks. You don't care anyway. 28 of you will watch this video. That's my prediction. This video will get 28 views. Make it happen. But yeah, that's what's gonna happen. Who cares? If you're watching this and you are one of the 28 people that watch this, subscribe. Get me to 150 subscribers. I'm at 149. 1 more to go. And like the video. Bye.